holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Monday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill. Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Mr. Hill, how are you?
A little wacky, man. A little wacky weekend I had. Supposed to be going on vacation. Spent my time in the city of New Orleans. But, hey, we're here, baby. Back to Hunt and Hill, so I'm glad to be back.
Forgot your passport.
Yeah, the worst, man.
Come on now.
Literally sitting on my bathroom counter, and I just totally forgot it. Just the worst.
That'll do it. But hey, New Orleans is not a bad place to spend a weekend. I was down there on Saturday night for a wedding. Had some fun. Glad you're back in action. Glad to be back here. Ton to talk about. Not much of it is positive, but we do have a lot of content for the show today. We're going to spend the first hour on basketball. Coaching search now in full effect. LSU's season came to an end back on Friday night against the 11 seed Iowa State, 59-54. We'll talk about that one. A rough weekend for the baseball Tigers. Some interesting quotes from Jay Johnson in the postgame on Sunday. We will get to all that as well. We'll take a look at our brackets, how things are looking. But we'll start with LSU and Iowa State on Friday. All year long, when you are perceived as a tournament team, you talk about the weaknesses of your team and what could get you beat and what will ultimately end your season. And for LSU, all year long, we could point to some things that were very specific. Could point to foul trouble, specifically with Tari Eason. Could point to turnovers. Could point to poor shooting, poor offensive play. All that to a T is what LSU produced on Friday and why their season came to an end. The Tigers were putrid on offense, scored 19 points in the first half. For the game, they shot 37% from the floor. They were 4-19 from the free throw line. That is a cool 21%. They weren't great from the free throw line either. Tari Eason continued to make really, really careless fouls, and that's a polite way to say it. He was only out there for 19 minutes. He scored 18 points, but he only played 19 minutes in the game. There was no real other option for LSU. They turned the ball over 19 times against a good Iowa State defense. And then one statistical anomaly crept up and bit him, and that was Tyrese Hunter, who'd been a terrible three-point shooter for really the entire season until the last 2 weeks. And a guy that shoots 25% on the year from three-point range made 7 of 11, including the dagger with about 30 seconds left that LSU got the shot clock all the way down to 1. He launched it from deep and made it, and LSU wasn't going to be able to recover down 5 at that point. So disappointing, but certainly predictable. LSU was the team we thought they were all year long. Yeah,
you saw this team's weaknesses really, kind of be put on full display. And I thought Iowa State did a great job of kind of using LSU's strength against them. I thought, the press kind of slowed LSU's down, really didn't let them get the rhythm that you would like to see offensively. And I think that really plagued the team. And I thought Xavier Pinson, with him coming back into the lineup, being the guy that kind of, kept the glue going, kind of get guys rhythm, get guys open looks. I thought in the first half, turned the ball over, not really being effective offensively. And like you said, with Tari Eason really not, being on the court for majority of the game like he normally is, I thought that really, really was hectic for this team and really didn't allow them to play the brand of basketball that you would like to see. And I think really Coach Wade not being in the mix, I think a lot of moments in that game where I really thought, they could really get back in it, really kind of make a charge and really take the lead of that game. They weren't able to do that. And I thought Iowa State did a great job, slowing them down offensively. And a lot of those threes, like you said, there were wide open looks in the corner, man. No one even putting a hand in his face. Just, he was just wide open. And for any college kid, you leave them that wide open. That's pregame shoot around jump shots, and those are normally going to fall. So I thought they fought, especially in the second half. They had opportunities to lay down and really kind of let Iowa State kind of take a charge and put them out of the game. They fought hard, but like you said, man, some of the things that we've kind of seen with this team all season, not really having that guy offensively that you can depend on, not being able to knock down perimeter shots, and I thought it was just too much for them to overcome, and it was just a tough way to see them go out like that.
I would love to have been in some of these film sessions with Tari Eason and whatever assistant or head coach, if it was Will Wade, was with him, watching every single game, him pick up 2 or 3 of these fouls for no reason. I mean, I don't want to sit here and pick on a college athlete who plays exceptionally hard and had a tremendous season. That's not the point. But this is not something that happened every once in a while. It almost happened every game. He would miss a shot and then just go reaching at somebody for no reason. Or at half court with 22 on the shot clock just run through somebody and foul them. There's so much stuff that's difficult to do in sports. It's hard to do. To me, not fouling is not one of those things. That seems easy to me as just someone standing there in the peanut gallery watching. Like, if you get your first foul, the next time you get a foul in the first half, you have to sit down. Like, that. You get 5 fouls. If you get a second one before the half, they're going to sit you. And he still did it. And it wasn't like he just got beat off the dribble and hip checked somebody in the course of a normal defensive play. It's just absolutely careless stuff that takes him off the floor. And in a game where you're playing a good defensive team, you don't really have any other offensive options. For him to have to sit for half the game, LSU's offense is not going to be able to recover from that. And they didn't. And you can't tell somebody just to quit trying, I guess. And that's the only way he knows how to play is with a full motor and going as hard as he can and trying to get steals and creating havoc. But, man, it just seems so easy. Just after the first one, shut it down. And he just never learned. He never figured it out.
Yeah, it's kind of played. We've talked about it time and time again. I mean, there's been multiple occasions where he's fouled out of basketball games, kind of being this team's.
He fouled out in 7 minutes against Florida. That is the most unbelievable thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. And I think for me, I'm sure Coach Wade, when he was a coach, he was pulling his hair out because you know how important Tari is to this basketball team, especially scoring offensively, being that spark plug off the bench. And my boy Brian Burgess in the chat, he said, I feel like LSU didn't want to win that game. I don't think that. I just think this team had some limit. They were limited in certain areas, and I think Iowa State kind of took advantage of that. A lot of times, they're doubling the post every single time. They did a phenomenal job. They knocked down the big threes when they had to have them, and I think there's nothing really this team could really do about that. So it's tough, man. I would love if we just stopped fouling people 70 feet from the basket, and sometimes, like you said, fouling people at half court, but it would have shocked me if this team really made it one with all the limitations they have, but I did really think they could beat this Iowa State team, a team that really, like you said, LSU, they held them to 59 points. Someone had told me, hey, you're going to hold Iowa State to 59 points going into this tournament. I would have took that in a heartbeat. I was like, okay, I love that.
It took their point guard hitting 7 threes to get them to 59 points. Like, I thought LSU would hold them right around 60 and then would beat them 67-60. That was what I thought, and it didn't happen. One of the things that LSU could rely on really all year long was Imwani hitting those threes in the corner, and he got 5 good looks and just didn't make any of them. And they were in critical times where you thought, man, if this one would go down, if that one would go down, they just couldn't quite climb out of the hole that they dug in the first half when they got down double digits because they couldn't score. I mean, they scored 19 points in the first half, and they got some things clicking in the second half and made some shots. They shot over 50% in the second half, 10 of 19. They just couldn't hit the big shot when they needed it late in the game. And then, of course, I thought pretty good defense on the last possession. I had some discussions that, Days should have contested. He should have been further out there that late in the shot clock, and I don't think that's wrong. But I do think that, you don't want to get too close and create a foul situation. That guy's way quicker than Days. Hunter is with the ball. So he kept him in front of him. He did jump and put a hand up, kind of didn't want to foul, but said, hey, look, you're a 24% shooter. You're shooting this thing from 30 feet. Let's see what happens. And he just buried it. And at that point, when you're down 5, LSU just wasn't going to have enough gas in the tank to get by it. So just a disappointing loss for LSU as they go 4 of 19 from three-point range in that game. Free throws, missed 7 of those as well, and just couldn't recover from getting down 12 with 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. They clawed all the way back, but didn't have enough to get over the hump. I think essentially what this season will be remembered for is Will Wade getting fired. I think that's the most obvious thing. But outside of that, just in terms of watching the team play all year, kind of your assessment of this team.
Yeah, I think this is a team that, really, especially how they started the season. I know Coach Wade scheduled it that way for them to have the success they had early on. But, man, I really thought this team was playing extremely well, man. There's some people in this building thinking they could have been a 3 or 4 seed with the way they were playing early on in the season. And obviously the injuries and guys being out of the lineup, and really you saw the limitations of this team. But what I'll take from this team is a team that, even with its limitations, they fought, man. And even in this game to, have an opportunity to tie it up or possibly win the game and go into overtime in a game you did not play well, miss a lot of free throws, shoot terribly from the three-point line, best player in foul trouble all game. I thought this team really fought hard, and I think with Coach Wade being out, obviously in the tournament, especially in the second half, this team really fought hard, and it kind of showed to me that, they're fighting Tigers. I know a lot of people, really figured they'd lay down in the tournament and really not make it close. Obviously, it's a performance they would have liked to perform a lot better in. But I'll take from this team, this is a team that'll fight. They're really gritty, very aggressive. And it just really stinks that, going forward that, they're going to be pounded with, these penalties from the NCAA. But I love the fact that this team will fight.
They did. They fought all year. They were just limited. They were just very, very poor on offense. They didn't run great stuff, I thought. I didn't think that they had anybody they could really go to get a basket one-on-one other than Eason driving to his right. When Miller went down, there just wasn't really a plan B for that. You didn't get quite the production out of the front court you thought you were going to get entering the season, I think. And you take away any sort of offensive punch from the 5 spot, which you didn't really have, and then you take your 2 guard, who's going to be your leading scorer, off the floor, and then Xavier Pinson goes out for a 3-week span. They weren't equipped to deal with that, and it's disappointing to have the start they did, and then to have the bottom fall out of it like it did when you got into Southeastern Conference play. And I think one thing that I will actually remember, because I tweeted this yesterday, I go back and think about this all the time. The 2009 team won the Southeastern Conference outright. They were the outright SEC champions. They got an 8 seed. And they got an 8 seed, and they played the 9 seed Butler, who was a year removed from playing for 2 straight national championships. So that's a hell of a 9 seed to draw. Yeah. And then the 1 seed they played in the second round was the eventual national champion, Tyler Hansborough, Ellington, North Carolina team that was the best Carolina team in 20 years. And that draw was so criminally awful for an LSU team that went to Rupp and won the league, and to get that draw stunk. This was the opposite. They limped in, but they got a 6. They played an 11 seed that wasn't very good and couldn't score at all. And then the 3 seed opposite them, Wisconsin, was not great. And we saw that last night. Iowa State beat them. Then Auburn was the 2 seed on your side. They were playing terrible. This draw, now LSU wasn't good enough to run through it, clearly. This draw was as good as you can get on the 6 line. You got a broken offensive team, then a fairly unathletic team that just lost to Nebraska on the 3 line, and then Auburn couldn't find themselves at all. I mean, you couldn't ask for it to be set up any better than this.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't. I think we both talked about it. I think we both predicted. Got some people in the Bayou 4 chat talking about the Hunt jinx, but I think we both said this team could possibly win 2 games going into this tournament. I really felt great about it. I thought, with the matchups they got, you couldn't get a better matchup. A team, LSU, that you didn't feel great about offensively. They drew a team that didn't score much, and they didn't score much against LSU. So, especially the way, Wisconsin was playing, especially that Colgate game, I felt really great about it, and just they just came up short, man. It's really tough.
Colgate gave Wisconsin a run.
Yeah.
I mean, it was right there set up. It's just disappointing that LSU just wasn't quite. They weren't, and so that's. I think I will remember that. Maybe not because they lost the game; it didn't materialize. But I remember that 09 draw just being so bad, and this one was so good. I think I'll remember that as we move forward. I want to. Come back and talk about the rest of the weekend in the NCAA basketball tournament. There's an article out on ESPN.com by Jeff Borzillo about the LSU basketball coaching search. I have some thoughts on that. That'll be at 12:30, and certainly in the second hour, we will get to LSU Texas A&M baseball, which was near disaster. Disappointing is kind of where we settled on that. So don't go anywhere. We'll come back, talk some more college basketball next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
When you think IVs, you think like sickness or the hospital. That's not necessarily the case. Sure, they can give you those when you're sick in the hospital, but at Think Wellness, IV hydrations are just decisions that health-conscious people are now making to help their bodies out. These IV nutrient hydrations increase your energy, optimize your mental clarity, improve your skin appearance, maximize athletic performance, detox, help your immune system, relieve hangover. There are tons and tons of reasons why you would get these IV hydrations. And Think Wellness has the most comprehensive and high-quality IV nutrient hydrations. They're packed with vitamins, packed with minerals, amino acids. Just download the Sync app and see a complete list of their hydration formulas and schedule yours today.
Yeah, so why schedule an IV hydration? Here are some of the many reasons why it's just so beneficial for you to refresh and revive your body from strenuous activity, to aid in optimal sports and athletic performance, to recover faster from illness, and it can even slow down aging.
They've got these awesome rooms in their Sync Wellness. They've got these comfortable chairs. They'll sit you down there real quiet and just plug you up to the old IV and let it go to work. Schedule yours today. Go to synkwellness.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. Shop now at BayouFord.com. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Madness returns. Tune in for live play-by-play of the 2022 Men's NCAA Tournament Thursday night at 8, Friday night at 6, Saturday at noon, and Sunday at 11 a.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So we decided to do a little segment on Wednesday where we drafted national champions. Each of us got 5 picks. See how we did the first weekend of the tournament. Jeremy's first pick was Kentucky.
I blame Casey Gaines for that, by the way.
The Peacocks have taken out your top contender.
God.
Jeremy's second pick, the Auburn Tigers.
Oh, God.
They're done. Headed home. Jabari Smith, Walker Kessler, K.D. Johnson, Wendell Green, gone fishing. His third pick, the Tennessee Vols. Rick Barnes, horrendous March record. You're in a shooting performance by the Tennessee Vols. Your first 3 picks are out. Duke is still in. Villanova is still in. But in the first pair down of 32 teams, Your first 3 picks. You have anything to say for yourself?
Oh, man. Look, man, Casey had me going. He wore his Kentucky sweatshirt to the studio. He was feeling the blue vibes, I just, let it kind of seep into my soul a little bit there. And, I was feeling, Oscar Tshiebwe, Player of the Year, Coach Cal, hungry for another championship. And first game, man. That was just very disappointing.
Well, look, Tshiebwe had 30 and 18, so there's not much else he can do. But Grady going 1 for 7, Ty going 1 for 10 from the floor. That's the thing, is that you can't – in 40 minutes, the whole season can fall apart. And I sometimes you can blame the coach or there's a player or some – but sometimes you just don't quite have it. Mm-hmm. And, look, St. Peter's was throwing in threes from all over the place. And, I don't think John Calipari did a bad job with this team. I think he put together a team full of veterans, a lot of good transfers. They were really solid from start to finish. I mean, if the team that showed up in Lawrence, Kansas, and beat Kansas by 100 shows up in March, nobody was going to beat them. But the team that couldn't throw it in the ocean showed up, and St. Peter's beat them. So it's just that's the way it goes. Yeah, that's the way it goes. And this is a tournament. We talked about it going into this tournament. There's going to be upsets out the wazoo. It's really hard to predict them, which is why it's so hard to get a perfect bracket. But, Kentucky just happened to be one of those teams, man. And I just think, man, St. Peter's going into it, I just thought Kentucky would have their way, just matchup for matchup. But, man, they got a heck of a player over there. He had an amazing game. He's having one of the best tournaments. And there's people throwing a lot of money on old St. Peter's to win this whole thing. The odds are probably amazing. That's to win the whole thing?
Yeah.
They sure are.
Yeah, that's probably why they're doing it. But, yeah, I think for Coach Cal, this is a disappointing loss, man. This seems like this happens every year for them. They have these great regular seasons. They get to the tournament and just come up extremely short. So it seems like just another replay of that.
Miami just toyed with Auburn. Yeah. I mean, beat them by 18, didn't really feel that close. I mean, it was just an absolute butt kicking, specifically at the beginning of the second half.
Yeah.
And I think Auburn's guards just got too ambitious, for me at least. They're just too many shot attempts from guys that were not around the basket or were not basically Jabari Smith. I mean, he did get his shots, but I just saw too much Wendell Green and too much KD Johnson for my liking. That's just Wendell Green goes 4 of 14 shooting in his 29 minutes. I'd like to have those touches go to Jabari Smith, if I'm being honest. Now, he got 16 shots, and he only went 3 for 16. So it's not like there's some sort of, it was obvious. But Auburn's guards, to me, sometimes took the ball over too much late in the season.
Yeah, I think Jabari was taking too many perimeter shots. I mean, he was aggressive in the game. He had 15 rebounds. He had 3 blocks. But it seemed like the second he got dunked on, it just ignited Miami. The second Jabari got dunked on, it ignited Miami, and they didn't look back since after that. And they kind of just took over that game. And Miami was a team that they weren't on my radar, but they played extremely well against Auburn. Bruce Pearl, a really great start to the season, but like you said, going into this tournament, they were a team that was kind of reeling, man. They weren't playing the best brand of basketball, and you saw that in this game, especially in the second half.
John Rothstein from CBS Sports, who I think is really, really good at covering college basketball, he's got a little tagline for every team. For those that are listening, it was for LSU for the last few years. It was Will Wade, American Gangster, even though he quit using it. But he's got a saying for everybody. And the one about Miami this year is Miami more guards than Shawshank, which is a Shawshank Redemption record. They just got so many guards they can get the ball to go get a bucket, and they looked great. And all of a sudden now, as we talked about, that's LSU's side of the draw. That's Iowa State and Miami, the 11 seed versus the 10 seed in the Sweet 16. That's what the LSU side of the bracket was looking at. And trust me, I'm not looking at Kansas like they're world beaters either. They're the 1 seed. No, LSU's there's nobody on LSU's side that I think is great. I mean, people loved Iowa. They got beat by Richmond in the first round. Wisconsin is who they are. Auburn's already gone. It was there for LSU's taking. Speaking of there for the taking, second year in a row that Arkansas is just getting cakewalks out here. They're beating double-digit seeds all tournament long. They did it last year. They're doing it again this time. They beat Vermont by 4 points in the opener. Then they get New Mexico State, a 12 seed in the second round. They score 53 points and get out alive because they hold New Mexico State to 48. They'll have to beat Gonzaga next in San Francisco, so it doesn't get any easier for the Hogs. But what do you make of Eric Musselman's team making the Sweet 16 for the second year in a row?
Yeah, I don't know if people are trolling in Baton Rouge, but I'm seeing a lot of hashtag hire Eric Musselman, man. It's like taking over the town right now. But I think it's a great effort. I think for me, Arkansas, going into this tournament to say they scored 53 points and win a tournament game. I know it's against New Mexico State, but it's great. I thought for me, especially going into this season, I did not think they would be a team just looking at the landscape of the SEC. And ever since they beat LSU, man, this is a team that's found ways to win basketball games, and that's a trait that's really hard to come by, and that's kind of what they kind of done for the latter half of this season, and now they find themselves in the Sweet 16. This is a daunting matchup for them. I'm excited to see how they perform in it, but you got to tip your cap to Musselman. He's gotten this team ready to play, and they've won a lot of basketball games, and now they got an opportunity to go to the Elite Eight.
They surely do. As I was looking up what last year. Last year, Arkansas's run to the Elite Eight, they played Colgate in the first round. Then they played the 6 seed Texas Tech in the second round. Then they played Oral Roberts, a 15 seed in the Sweet 16. And then they got beat by Baylor, the eventual national champs. Then this year, they get 2 double-digit seeds right out of the chute. So of their 5 tournament wins in the last 2 years, 4 of them against double-digit seeds, just the 6 seed Texas Tech, their only win. So it's been a good run for Eric. He's got a good team, and they're playing well. But they've gotten a couple breaks on the bracket side for sure. To get a 15 seed in the Sweet 16 and then to beat them by only 2 points shows you that it was nice draw for Eric Musselman's squad. One thing that I've tweeted about, and it gets tired and old, but I just have we have to talk about it. I mean, the end last night of the TCU game against Arizona, where they don't call the foul there at the hip check at half court in front of everyone. I just don't know how that happens. That call was as bad as the technical foul call in the Illinois game that I also tweeted about, and I didn't think anything could get worse than that. It was just a simple run-out dunk. The kid dunks it, and his momentum swings him, and then he drops down. Didn't yell at anybody, talk about anything, didn't slap the glass, nothing. Bang, technical foul. Like, who is calling? Why? Why are we calling this foul? It's just these officials and their technicals have got to go. Somebody needs to sit down with these guys and go, look, technical fouls are for fist fights that break out or a coach who will not leave the floor. They are not because you think he might have hung on the rim 0.62 seconds too long. And then to miss the call at the end of the game on a hip check at half court on the ball when everyone's looking at it. I mean, there are some people that say you got to let them play it. No, the rules are the rules. The rules are the rules in the first half, the rules are the rules in the second half, the rules are the rules in the last 4 seconds in the game. You hip check somebody out at half court, that's got to be called, and they didn't blow the whistle there.
Yeah, that was a bad call. He looked like he got tackled, actually. I don't even want to call that a hip check, too, really. I mean, it wasn't one of those, Jalen Williams flops where, you're sliding 30 feet out of bounds and you're touching a fan in the student section. This is an actual, tackle at half court. And it was a terrible missed call. Luckily, he missed the game-winning dunk with time running out.
It was late.
I mean, the time ran out on him, but still, it's like you got to make that call. And I know sometimes for referees, they don't want to walk out of that arena being, we gave this team the game, with free throws with the game on the line. But, man, if it's a foul, that looks like a tackle to me. You got to make the call.
Got to make the call. So we are down to 16 in the men's basketball tournament. LSU will not be part of that number. And there will be a regime change at LSU as Will Wade is out and the coaching search has begun for Scott Woodward and company. There's an article up on ESPN.com from Jeff Borzillo breaking down the candidates for the LSU job. I've had a couple of conversations and would like to opine on Jeff's options. We will do that next on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front to Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed.
Time for myself.
We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal.
For a Monday edition of Early Line, as we recap the sports weekend, including LSU versus Iowa State in the NCAA tournament, and we start looking ahead to the second round. Join us from 2 to 3 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A little bit of torture for me this morning. You listen to the morning show, you know Jacob and T-Bob were out at the U Club today for the Dreams Come True golf tournament. Big supporter of Dreams Come True here over at Guarantee Media. Just a wonderful charitable organization that does what it can to make dreams come true for those children facing tough medical battles. And so they had a golf tournament this morning. Our whole staff went out there to kind of show some support and just hang out. Brian Haldane was on Talk 107.3 live from there. Jacob and T-Bob were there. But I go out there. It's like 66 degrees, perfect weather. Got the ice chest full of foods out there, and all the carts are getting ready to roll. And I'm sitting there going, I'm not playing. I am going back to work. Just torture to sit there and watch the crew. But hopefully those out there are having a big old time, and they raise a ton of money for Dreams Come True. It looked like a perfect day out at U Club. So thanks to everybody who went out there and supported and played, and the vendors and all that. It looks like a phenomenal event. But back to LSU basketball. Reading this article by Jeff Borzello of ESPN, he is handicapping all of the head basketball coach vacancies in college basketball, and the ones that are certainly relevant to LSU would be Florida and Georgia, South Carolina. Those are the ones that are kind of around here. And as he kind of works his way through, we saw that Florida, Georgia immediately made its splash with Mike White. Florida did not waste any time going and getting Todd Golden, who is the San Francisco head coach. A lot of Missouri chatters about Dennis Gates, who is at Cleveland State right now. But as far as LSU's, I will read you the blurb, and then we'll talk about the three names that he mentions. He says, LSU is the biggest job left on the board, although potential NCAA sanctions involved have likely dissuaded some big-name options from getting involved. One seemingly far-fetched rumor that won't go away is Tony Bennett going to Baton Rouge, but sources close to Bennett have maintained all week there is nothing of substance to it. The two names that emerged as potential options for athletic director Scott Woodward are Murray State's Matt McMahon and North Texas's Grant McCasland. As the clear-cut best job still available, LSU can afford to take its time and still have a free run at its preferred candidates. So the first name that he brings up is Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett is at Virginia. He's obviously a national championship-winning head coach. He has family ties to Baton Rouge. I believe his wife is from Baton Rouge. Right now, Virginia is one of the elite programs in college basketball, and LSU is about to get hit with a chainsaw worth of sanctions. Can LSU pay a lot of money and get him to come here? Does he want a fresh start? Is there any issues at going on? Like Kim Mulkey was at a great spot in Baylor, but there were some issues with her and the AD. Kind of moved on. This seems far-fetched, but everyone is saying it, so I think there's got to be some truth that at least maybe Scott has targeted Tony Bennett. Your thoughts on the likelihood, possibility that Bennett would come here and what kind of fit he would be?
Yeah, I mean, a coach with over a 700 win percentage, 731 win percentage, and NCAA basketball at the highest level. Of course, I would love that. But looking at his contract, he's making $4.15 million. Yep. I don't know if LSU's dishing out that kind of cheese for the basketball coach, but hey, we know Scott Woodward, man. He likes to make huge splashes. He doesn't mind, bringing the big names into town, and with the Baton Rouge ties that he does have, I would love it. I think for this program, obviously ailing right now, with the hammer about to be, slammed down on it. I think bringing a guy in that, has won so much at this level, I think that would be great for LSU.
I would be thrilled with this hire. I'm pretty consistent in this. I don't care about college football games going 4.5 hours. I don't care that a Major League Baseball game takes 4 hours. Like, I'm not turned off by the pace of play in Major League Baseball. Like, I'm just invested in winning. Now, that makes me a little bit different from some people. Some people need the excitement level, need things to move along, need things to be sped up, and I understand that. Like, that is a perfectly reasonable expectation. I just personally don't care. In the same vein, I don't care if LSU wins 51-47 or 96-94. That doesn't matter to me. If you show me a great defensive team, I'll be happy with that. You show me a great offensive team, I'll be happy with that. Like, just as long as you win. And so there are some people that look at this and go, man, this is boring basketball. It's so low scoring. I wouldn't want it. I don't fall into that camp at all. You win basketball games, I'm all for it. That trophy looks pretty good in Virginia's athletic complex. I don't care that they did it mostly playing really good defense. So that doesn't scare me off at all. This would be incredible to me if Scott Woodward could pull a national championship winning head coach in his 40s to come to Baton Rouge. That would be phenomenal. I think maybe 51. He may be just over 50. Mm-hmm. If he could pull that, I think it would be absolutely phenomenal. As far as Matt McMahon goes, he is at Murray State. He's done an exceptional job at Murray State. If you look at their record year over year, he's winning 70% of his games at Murray State. He's winning 75% of his conference games. You look, he took over the team. They went 17-14, then went 16-17, so a 500 team in year two. Then 26-6, 28-5, 23-9. Then last year, which was a goofy year, 13-13, and then came back this year and 13-3, and got to the second round of the NCAA tournament. We know Ja Morant. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that has won a ton of games and has sustained it over time. When you can win 26 games in 2017 and then come back and 4 years later in 2022 win 31, that's not, I got two really good recruits that showed up. No, he's sustaining an excellent team there in the Ohio Valley, and I think has done a really, really good job.
Yeah, I'm gonna love. He's a former player, so he has that, that box checked, and I think he's a young guy. I think you like that as well.
43, yeah.
Yeah, he's a young guy who's hungry, and obviously gonna get to a Division I program in the SEC. To me, it's stacked right now, so it'll give him an opportunity to come into one of the more competitive conferences in this country and really give an opportunity to to really be on that big stage. And I think I would love a coach like Coach McMahon. Obviously, he's another guy who's right there at that 700 win percentage as a head coach, which was very impressive to me. And I think for Scott Woodward, I think that'd be a guy I think would be a huge splash, especially when you look at kind of the Murray State basketball program and just how prominent they've been and really, the winning that they've done over the past few years. So I would like that hire as well.
Grant McCaslin is the other name mentioned. He is North Texas's head coach. Of course, that's the route we went with Johnny Jones back a few years ago. He won 20 games as the head coach of Arkansas State and then moved over to North Texas in Conference USA, where he has won at least 18 games every year. He's won 20 or more in 4 of his 5 seasons at North Texas. Last year, they won a tournament game. So, look, he's won 65% of his games at North Texas and is a young guy. I think has done a pretty good job. I don't know as much about Grant McCaslin as I do the other 2 names on this list, but I think these are reasonable. And it's still, for me, a question of, do these guys want to take this risk? I mean, do you want to jump into a pool where you think, a 1-year postseason ban is likely, a 2-year is possible? Who knows past that? What are the scholarship restrictions going to be? And we're not going to get that information for some time. You're going to have to do this blindly. Now, they can work some things into his contract with, guaranteed money and buyout issues and issues of time with when the sanctions come out. But it's still, to me, not a very attractive landing spot right now.
Yeah, it's a scary situation, and it could be the exact opposite. I mean, we've kind of seen the NCAA be really back and forth, no real consistency. They may not lay the hammer down as hard as we may think, and it may be a great opportunity for a new coach. There's really no way to know, especially when they're not consistent in kind of how they do this thing. So it's to be determined, but I think for a new coach, I still think, especially if you really see what Coach Wade has really done with this program and you feel like you're going to do things the right way, it's a great landing ground. I think this LSU basketball program is thriving, and I think right now it's hard to say that with everything that's on the horizon coming up. But I think if you're a confident young coach and you get an opportunity to coach this basketball team, and especially with the recruits that Coach Wade's got in town, you're going to have to redo a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, they're all gone. So they're all gone.
Yeah, they're all gone. But it can be done, and you have the support, especially with Scott Woodward. I think he's going to have to dish out some cheese, especially with the situation that's going to be on the horizon, like I said. So I don't know as much about McCaslin, but I think for me, he's another guy, former player, checks a lot of boxes, his high win percentage, and so you want to bring guys like that around this program to really kind of get this thing back going.
All right. So I had 2 conversations yesterday. We did this whole thing with the football coaching search, and we were both consistent. We're not going to make stuff up just so you can click on this. That's just not how we're going to do this. I mean, there were so much misinformation out there from all over the place. That's not how we're going to play this thing. I'm going to say things that I'm comfortable saying based on the conversations that I've had that I feel good about knowing. And the only thing I really told you on the football search is that I believe Billy Napier wants this job. I believe he has talked to LSU. He has talked to people about will they join his staff at LSU, and LSU did not return that interest. That's the only thing I knew. I didn't know anything about Riley. I didn't know anything about Kelly. I didn't know anything about Mel Tucker, and we didn't claim to. So that's what we're going to run. And this basketball search, I had a couple conversations yesterday. I am comfortable saying that I don't think this timeline is going to be very long. I think LSU is going to have a basketball coach before next Monday, is my opinion. And I'm not going to cross any of those 3 names we just listed off the list. I'm not crossing Tony Bennett off the list. I'm not crossing Matt McMahon off the list. And I'm not crossing Grant McCaslin off the list. I think all 3 are very, very much in play. What's going to happen, I don't know. But I think that Scott Woodward and his team are moving this thing forward pretty quickly. I don't think they're waiting on people that are still involved in the tournament or still tied up or not talking to them. And I think this is going to move pretty quickly, and I think those 3 are very possible. So that's as far as I'll go there.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think for me, I would assume, and I don't know this for sure, but I would assume that Scott would have to have some assurances if you're going to turn around and hire a guy that fast, especially without NCAA really making a decision. So I think whether it's in the contract, whether they may know something that we don't know, especially with them firing Coach Wade before anything kind of came down. So Hopefully that is the case, and you can get a guy that, really can represent this university and this state and really get this basketball program, going in the right direction. Hopefully it's not this hammer isn't too hard, because if it's like a 2 or 3 year ban, man, that's going to be very hard to overcome.
LSU's going to fight some of this. Some of the stuff they think is at VCU, some of it they think is not as serious as. They're going to fight some of it. They just didn't care about fighting for Will Wade, which is their decision. That's for the decision makers to do, and that's what they determine. So this will keep moving forward. We will keep talking about it all week, and again, I think by the end of next weekend, I think LSU's got a basketball coach that's going to be coming to the podium. We'll come back, close out hour number 1 next. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Here we go, a little FanDuel here. Protect yourself against upsets this March with Bracket Parlay Insurance on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back each day if you parlay 3 legs and 1 leg, and you end up 1 leg short. Parlays are great because you can turn a small bet into a big payday, and with cash out balls in your court, so you can close out whatever bets you want before the game is over.
Sweet 16 lines are already out. I'm looking. Arkansas is catching 9 points against Gonzaga. That's a lot of cheddar for a team that's playing pretty well in Arkansas. So just open the FanDuel Sportsbook, scroll through. All the lines are right there. Of course, there are futures on national champions as well, as we have played one weekend in the SEC tournament. If you're new in the NCAA tournament, if you're new to FanDuel, just sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN. You can bet the bracket all tournament long. That's promo code 1045ESPN on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. If exactly 1 leg loses, a refund issues a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. NCAA tournament, SBK wager required. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We're recapping LSU's return to the big dance, the open of SEC play, and Saints free agency now that Watson's in Cleveland. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
NFL news is abuzz. Free agency, trades, the offseason in full swing, and a big one. The Atlanta Falcons have agreed to send their starting quarterback, Matt Ryan, to the Indianapolis Colts. So Matt Ryan headed to the AFC. NFC South continues to shake up. You got a retirement in Tampa, and then he comes back, and then you dish him out, and then there's a whole Deshaun Watson bidding war that ends up going somewhere else. It's been a scene in quarterback land in the NFC South. But your gut reaction when you see Matt Ryan headed to the Colts?
Yeah, it was expected. I think the Falcons kind of wanted to move on from him, and they really didn't have too many options in front of them. And obviously, with Matt being so upset with them kind of going after Deshaun with everything he's kind of done for the organization, it's kind of time to move on, especially with his contract and, at that point of his contract. So I don't think the Falcons are going to extend him to this point. I think for the Colts, especially with, the success they had with Phillip Rivers, I think with that offensive line and that run game, they feel like they can get something similar, if not better, with Matt Ryan, who's a former MVP. So I think all sides are happy in that trade. It's not very shocking to me, and hopefully Matty can do a little something in Indianapolis. Mike
Garafolo has tweeted that he expects Marcus Mariota to head to the Falcons to be their starting quarterback. It's just a guy who's essentially kind of fallen off the reservation. I haven't heard about Mariota in 3 years, and now the thought is that he may go there. Arthur Smith was with Mariota during his time with the Titans. He's there, obviously, in Atlanta. Your thoughts on what that means for the Falcons? I think that's a pretty significant downgrade to me when you go from Matt Ryan to Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, it's a huge downgrade, and I think for me, it's a bridge. Maybe they're trying to tank. And maybe look at a guy like Bryce Young next year. I remember the heavy tank for Tua and tank for Trevor. Maybe it's a situation like that, and they're kind of aiming up for next year and really being able to draft a guy that they can build around for the future. But I don't love the Mariota hire. I'm sure the Saints and the Bucs and some of these other teams in the NFC South are licking their chops with him being at the quarterback position, because you got to be able to wing the ball around. You got to be accurate, throw the ball downfield time and time again. And I just don't think Marcus Mariota is that guy to do that.
I'm a little puzzled at this deal. I now see the terms. All the Colts sent Atlanta was a third-round pick?
Yep.
That is, I guess there's a salary relief there because Ryan makes so much money. All you got's a third-round pick. The response was the Panthers to get Sam Darnold, sent a second, a fourth, and a sixth.
Mm-hmm.
This is, do what you got to do, Falcons, but I'm not sure that's a great deal.
Yeah, I think for that deal, they knew Matty it's time to move on, and I think you saw it with the Amari Cooper trade. To me, still one of the best receivers in this league, and you get a 6th-round pick for him when teams know, you're trying to get off a guy. They're gonna wait. They're gonna wait it out. There's not gonna be a game being played till September. So, and they know teams for cap reasons have to make moves, so that they're not gonna give you anything crazy, especially when they know you're trying to get off a guy. And I think kind of everyone knew, especially with Matt Ryan being so upset with them going after Deshaun Watson. He wants out, and I don't think you're going to get anything more than that. I'm actually shocked that they got that much for him.
Man, that's nuts. So this is the Colts had reportedly had interest in Winston, had interviewed him, met with him, whatever you want to call it. Does this make it increasingly more likely that he's going to end up in New Orleans? At this point, the market's kind of run its course. Mayfield's still there. If you want to go to San Francisco and see what you can do over there. But I think it feels like Jameis Winston is the eventual answer.
Yeah, it does. And I think there's actually a market for Jameis Winston, especially kind of when you kind of look around. I'm sure the Panthers wouldn't mind a guy like that. Obviously, we know the Saints would love a guy like that. And there's probably a couple other teams that probably aren't, really happy with their quarterback situation. So with that being said, I think the Saints may have to, cough up a little more cheese and going into this offseason than they probably thought they would have. So But I think for the Saints, he's always been their most realistic option, a guy who has familiarity with the team. And to me, seemed like he gained the trust of his teammates, especially kind of all the kind of wacky stuff that's kind of happened in his career to this point. So I think for Saints fan, that's probably the best option going forward.
Yep. And as I look at it, I think this makes the Colts a threat. I mean, look, Ryan's past his prime, but he can still play, and they've got a really good offensive line that can run the ball exceptionally well. Defense is pretty good, and that division's got its issues. I mean, the Titans are pretty good. The Jaguars are just an absolute disaster, and the Texans have quit. So I think the Colts kind of become a factor there. The Saints need to get things figured out at the quarterback spot, and we'll see how to handicap the NFC South. Feels like it's Tampa and then the rest of the lot, but we'll see. If you missed anything in the first hour, a lot of basketball to start things off for the first 45 minutes. You can find that on demand at 1045ESPN.com, or you can go to YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We very much appreciate all of that. Second hour, we're locked and loaded as well. We're going to kick things off with some college baseball. LSU and Texas A&M Tigers lose 2 of 3, but they do get Sunday's win, which they very, very badly needed. We'll talk about that. Talk about Lael Collins joining the Bengals. Jeremy have some thoughts on that for sure. So come back with us for hour number 2. Hope you're having a good Monday. Be back after the other side of this timeout on Hunt and Hill.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport. I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed.
Time for myself.
We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2, out in the open field here on Hunt and Hill. A lot of hoops talk in the first hour. We will transition now to Fighting Tiger baseball. LSU and A&M open conference play this weekend at the Box. Aggies get a dramatic win on Friday. Come back and beat LSU again on Saturday. Then they take a 4-run lead on Sunday. And that Aggie bullpen, which has been very much maligned, coughed it up, and LSU got it done. Friday score 6-4 A&M. Saturday score 11-7 as A&M scores 4 in the ninth. And then Sunday, LSU gets the 7-6 win. So Tigers 1-2 in SEC play to open things up. Getting swept by one of the lesser teams in the conference would have been a disaster on opening weekend. As it was, it's very disappointing, and there are some very, very concerning trends with this team. But they avoided the disaster, and they got one on Sunday, which was important.
Yeah, it was huge, and I think for me, kind of it's kind of stood pat all season. Just really having that dominant pitching. I think really being able to really point to maybe 3 guys out of the bullpen that you really trust in pressure-packed situations, especially when SEC kind of rolls around, and really not having those weekend starters that you can really depend on to give you 4 or 5 innings. It's kind of going to plague this team, man, and I think A&M being not one of the more powerhouse teams in the SEC, man, they hit the ball hard all weekend, and that's why you find yourself in the situation you're in, and to think that they would have 17 hits in one game, I think that's very alarming for this LSU baseball team, and you're going to have your bats really show up time and time again, and you find yourself in a situation where the bats aren't hot and guys aren't really getting hits, and you're leaving runners in scoring position. You're going to find yourself in this situation again and again, and it's really tough, but I think I agree with what you said, finding a way to win on Sunday, and that was the play from Trey Morgan to me. That was an amazing play. I think if you can, I don't think he could do that 10 times in a row if he tried to, man. That was just a perfect throw on the money to really save, to stop them from getting a runner in scoring position and really being able to win that game down the stretch. So that was huge. I think that was probably for me the biggest takeaway. That they battled all weekend, and obviously on Sunday you find yourself in the ninth inning with opportunity to win the game, and they came out on top. But going forward, man, it's going to be a lot of questions that has to be answered from pitching that I think is really going to ail this team.
Look, A&M came in. Now it's a fairly small sample size. It's just a month of non-conference baseball. But A&M came in with the worst batting average in the league, the worst slugging percentage in the league, the fewest home runs in the league, and the second most strikeouts in the league. That team that came in here with those credentials scored 23 runs on 39 hits this weekend and stranded 36. They were on base all weekend. LSU starting pitchers, which was Floyd, then Money, then Hilliard, gave you 9 1/3 innings, 19 hits, 12 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 5 walks. That ain't going to get it. That is not going to get it. And Jay Johnson was frustrated after the game yesterday, said, we're going back to the drawing board. Our program will reach the point where we will have, you'll know who the guys on Friday, you'll know who the guys on Saturday, you know who the guys on Sunday. We don't have that. It is not realistic to expect anybody on this team to get out there and give you 7 innings. That's what he said after the game. And he's right. This pitching staff is undermanned and is going to have to be patched together all year. And that's just not the way you want to do it. The good news is they do swing the bats. They're going to score. They scored 18 runs on the weekend. They hit 5 home runs. McManus hit a pair of homers. DiGiacomo continues to swing it. You saw Cruz crush one in the opposite field. Big swing from Cade Doty. They're going to hit, and they're going to be okay. They're going to win a lot of games. They're just flawed from a championship perspective right now, and I don't know that it's fixable. We'll see. It's a long season, and maybe some of these guys grow into some of these roles, but LSU has got to find a way. I mean, the way I always look at it is if I'm going to structure a college baseball pitching staff, I would like to get 7 innings out of my ace on Friday, 6 innings out of my number 2 guy on Saturday, and 5 innings out of my next guy on Sunday. That's 18 innings over a weekend. LSU gave you half that on this one. And I went back and watched Money start again because he's the one guy that we kind of hung our hat on. He gives up the swinging bunt hit, couple of sac flies, but he wasn't great. I mean, one of the hits was a reasonable pitch. He was down and away, and the guy made a good swing at it. But a couple of the hits he gave up were bell-tie fastballs. He did walk 2 guys on 4 pitches. So I was trying to bring to you, well, it wasn't quite as bad as his line indicated. Then I watched it and went, well, he didn't pitch well. But he did look fairly healthy. He did have the fastball up to 95 at times, and it was sitting there at 93. He did throw a couple of good breaking balls. I think from a health perspective, he's okay. But this pitching staff was exposed over the weekend. They were bad. I don't have another way to say it.
Yeah, it was. And I think for me, I thought Mikhail obviously wasn't against a great opponent. I thought he played better in his second performance, but this was probably, to me, his worst. He got hit very hard, and you need that guy. You need that second starter. I trust Money. He may not be, a first-round draft pick, top 10 pick, but I think he can find ways to get outs in the SEC. But past that, it's just not what you want to see. And I think the fielding, we kind of saw some of that come back into the
2 errors in all 3 games.
Yeah.
Every game.
Yeah.
Merrifield throwing it all over the place. Jordan Thompson kicking one. Barry can't make a play at the track. Barry or Airmail's a throw. It's everywhere. It's just an epic. And we talked about this. Some of it you can fix with personnel. Some of it you can't. And when you talk about taking Barry off the field and DHing him, the concern that Jay Johnson had with that is it kind of takes Joe Bear out of the game. And then you're very, very right-handed all of a sudden. And he wants some more left-handed pat in there in case there are times for relievers. So, it's a bit of a problem. The 2 errors in every game is a bit of a problem. But, Ty Floyd gets to start on Friday. He did mix in a couple more breaking balls, but they're just not very effective. And then he goes back to the fastball and he gives up 2 home runs. The one he gave up to the lefty, the kid spun on a fastball and hit it off the practice facility foul. And then came back 2 pitches later on another fastball and jammed it into the seats. Like, it's just, you're not going to beat these guys with one effective pitch. And while he didn't just stick to the fastball, he threw a couple breaking balls. They're just not good enough to respect. You just kind of take it and move on and wait for the fastball to come and then turn on. And that's what they did. So it's a bit of an issue. I still think Money has the potential to be a 6-inning guy on the weekend who can get you through an SEC lineup a couple times. I think Mikhail Hilliard can give you 5 innings at times. I'm going to have to change my expectation from the 19 innings that I would like in a general way, but I think it's reasonable to expect, 16 innings.
Ooh, that's healthy.
If Money gave you 7, even if he gave you 6 and Hilliard gave you 5, then you can get close with 5 or 6 somewhere else. It may not happen, but Grant Taylor, I thought, was really good on Friday. He goes 4 innings, just allowed 2 hits, no runs, had a walk and a strikeout. His stuff looks pretty good. He threw 62 pitches. That's a fairly extended. Again, to kind of reset, I'm very, very concerned about the pitching staff. I think it's not fixable in the way that we would like it fixed, where you're going to find 3 identified starters that can stretch out. I don't think it's not fixable in the sense that you can win some games, patch it up together with this bullpen, because I still believe this offense is great, and I believe it will continue to be great. And so I think they're still going to win some games. But this was a sobering deal to go out there on your home field against a team that may finish last in your division, and they bashed the ball over the yard for 3 days.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think we just talked about the limitations of the basketball team, and I think we all see the limitations of this baseball team And you would want that. I think you would want this team to feel better, but they just haven't done it consistently enough. And obviously, you talked about having those weekend starters that you can depend on, for more than 4 innings or 5 inning stretches. I'm not going to go there because I haven't seen it, and they haven't played the level of competition that's going to be on the horizon coming up. It's only going to get tougher. And so if you're playing at this level, obviously guys can get better, guys can get hot, pitchers can get stuff going, but I think I'm not going to get my hopes up with this. I'm not going to say, hey, we're going to be having a no-hitter through 6 in some of these games. It's just I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're going to have to get guys coming out of the bullpen, pitching well, trying to get outs, and really just depend on your bats really to show up week in and weekend out to really give this team a chance to be the team that we think they can be.
And the 2 things. One, the Trey Morgan play yesterday was world-class. I mean – and he said it was kind of blind. I was just winging it because I was trying to cut him down. But, man, to show the athleticism, the wherewithal on the field to slide like he did so that he could pop up and get rid of it, he threw it right on the money. That was just a massive, massive play in the game. That was awesome to see from him over there at first base. And a last note, I'm sure I'm going to feel kind of the same way when I see Corey Raymond in orange and blue coming up. Nolan Kane coaching third in that Aggie maroon. That's ugly, Nolan. That is ugly uniform on you. You looked much better the last 10 years of your life here in Baton Rouge. But I am glad that Nolan got that opportunity, and obviously he's an excellent dude, a great LSU Tiger, and just one of those deals where when you see him in the other color, it just kind of hurts your soul. But he's doing a heck of a job over there in College Station. So right now LSU sits there at 1-2. The game against Louisiana Tech very much in doubt for tomorrow. Weather looks awful. And they're not going to have Louisiana Tech get on a bus and drive down here if they're not going to play. So they may kick that one down the road a little bit, and we'll see. But LSU, speaking of Gainesville, headed there coming up this weekend to play the Florida Gators, who put a sweep on the board this week to open SEC play. So tough assignment, but LSU's got to get things moving. As we go forward, I'm excited this week to start talking about some potential other pitching options. And look, you're not going to get it from a better source than us on Wednesday at 12:30 when Jason Kelly joins us. We'll talk about what went wrong over the weekend and what kind of adjustments they may be able to make. Hopefully, Coach Kelly will have some good answers for us coming up on Wednesday at 12:30. We visit with him every single Wednesday at 12:30. So we come back. Jeremy's buddy headed to his old stomping grounds, going to protect Joe. We will talk about Lael Collins headed to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill.
Brake Medics, brake repair anywhere. Find them at brakemedics.com. Look, I've gone through this process. It's so easy. You go to brakemedics.com. Jeremy will tell you how to get the quote. They schedule a time. Just make sure you're at home, and they pull up right behind into your driveway. Knock on the door. I hand them the keys. I go sit on the couch, drink a cold Coca-Cola, watch some football, whatever may be going on. They knock on the door an hour later, say, hey, it's done. You see, they're cooling off right now. Give them another 45 minutes. You're back on the road. You don't have to do anything. No getting in traffic, no hitching a ride, no missing a ton of work time. Brake Medics is the most convenient thing in the car repair game. You got to take care of your car. Got to take care of your brakes. Let Brake Medics do it.
Yeah, just go to brakemedics.com for your free quote today. You log into their website, put the make, year, and whatever model your vehicle is, and whatever brake symptoms your vehicle may be dealing with at the time. They'll have all those options right there on the website for you. Put your name, email, and phone number, and brakemedics.com will get back to you with the free quote today.
They are certified. They are insured. They are licensed. They are ready to help you. All you got to do is go to brakemedics.com and hit that big red button that says get a quote. Brake Medics, brakemedics.com. We make house calls.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% APR for 72 months. Shop our inventory or let us custom order your Ram with up to $2,000 bonus cash, million-mile warranty, and more. Shop BayouCityJR.com or visit us off I-10 in La Plaza. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, We've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Madness returns. Tune in for live play-by-play of the 2022 Men's NCAA Tournament Thursday night at 8, Friday night at 6, Saturday at noon, and Sunday at 11 a.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, we yelled, ranted, and raved, and all year long, all playoffs long, Super Bowl, post-Super Bowl, get Joe some offensive linemen. Come on, Bengals, get it done. And they're doing it. They have done a lot of work on the offensive line. They have signed Ted Karras at center, Alex Kappa as a guard, and then Lael Collins, the latest to ink with the Cincinnati Bengals, leaving the Dallas Cowboys. Looks like Lael likely to be the right tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals moving forward. As you look at these signings, you're obviously more familiar with these guys than I am outside of Lael. Well, you're more familiar with Lael than me too, but I've followed Lael, not necessarily the other two guys very much. Have they done a good enough job at revamping that offensive line?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've made significant upgrades. I play with Ted in New England, so I know he's a hardworking kid. He's got to come to work every day, with that lunch bell and ready to put the work in. Obviously, I think Lael, he's had some injuries and some suspensions here and there, but to me, when he's healthy and going, he's one of the premier right tackles in all of football. So I was with him, Thursday, and we were talking about it, and he's like,
"Man, ask you about that."
Yeah. So I was around that whole process, kind of just seeing that kind of thing unfold, and obviously me having the experience of living in Cincinnati and playing for the team. He had a ton of questions and all that stuff. So I'm excited for him. I think that's going to be a great opportunity for him, and to me, the Bengals. We've seen a lot of teams get to the Super Bowl and kind of go into the wayside and go into the dust and never really get back. We just saw the Falcons do that, and you never heard from them again. I don't think the Bengals are going to be in that boat. They're an extremely young, talented football team, and if you can protect Joe, I think the sky's the limit for that team. And so I'm excited for the opportunity he's going to have up in Cincinnati.
What's that process like? I know everything's different, but in terms of the agent, is the agent letting you know everything that happens, or does he lay the groundwork and then come back to you for approval? Like, how does that process go?
Yeah, so they're laying the groundwork. So the Cowboys kind of knew, they're going to move on from Leal, and they were trying to find a trade partner. But like I said, most of the time when teams know you're trying to get off a guy, they're not going to give you anything for it. It's kind of like a yard sale. It's like, I'm not going to give you full price for what you pay for this. It's a yard sale. I know you're trying to get rid of it, so I'm going to give you way less than what it's worth and what you paid for it. So it was one of those situations. So and L, he has the same offensive line coach that he really loved in Dallas, is now the offensive line coach at Cincinnati. So he has a rapport there, and his agent was trying his darndest to get him out of Dallas, and that's exactly what happened. Jerry Jones granted him his wish and allowed him to be a free agent, and he got on that flight to Cincinnati, and he hasn't looked back since. He got to go to Joe's house, sit down with him, really fellowship, and really really see the kid that Joe really is. Obviously, he's a lot older than Joe, and kind of missed eras at LSU, but when you have those LSU ties, it's a brotherhood. It doesn't matter if you played in the early 2000s, late 2000s, you're playing now. It's a brotherhood. So I'm glad he got a former Tiger to really, come in and kind of be that bodyguard like he said he's going to be for Joe.
That's us. I guess the biggest question for me is you've brought in 3 established veteran pros on the offensive line, and you feel like those guys should be able to plug in and play. The question for me is Jonah Williams. They used a high pick on him. Not sure which side he wants to play on. Okay, we're going to go on the left side. Do you think he is capable of taking that next step to becoming an above-average NFL left tackle? If not, that's a huge hole in your offensive line.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I know when you spend a first-round pick on a guy, teams that have those expectations, and sometimes those guys aren't, who you thought going into it. But I think for the Bengals, he has to. I think if you can get some – real, elite level production from the left tackle position. I think Leal's got to, shore up that right side, and now you feel really great about Joe dropping back time and time again. But if Jonah's not that guy, you're going to see teams put their best pass rusher on that side time and time again, and that side just happens to be Joe's blind side, which is not a situation that you want to be in. And I know for a lot of Bengals fans, they watch that Super Bowl and seeing them so close, and the way you come up short is your offensive line can't hold up. You're going to have that. So I'm looking forward to him really stepping up, because if he can, you got to have to look out for the Bengals.
You think they drafted offensive lineman as well?
Oh, yeah. I think they load up, and I think we talked about it right after the Super Bowl. Like, please protect Joe. Like, whatever you do, do that. You have the weapons now. They went and got Hayden Hurst. I liked him. He's a young ascending tight end. Yeah. A lot of speed, can really catch the football since they lost C.J. Uzomah. So, you got the skill position guys. You got, Chase is still there. You still got T. Higgins. You still got Tyler Boyd. Still got Joe Mixon, who's one of the more premier backs in the league to me. You got everything you need. So you shore up that offensive line. That there's not a resource, if I'm the Bengals, that I wouldn't go without finding guys that, that can really help Joe and protect. And maybe that guy may be a year away, but Joe's so young and has so many years ahead of him. You want to do that, because if he's sitting back there dropping back and can really survey the field and have time, he has a lot of weapons, and that's going to be dangerous for NFL defenses.
It doesn't feel like a one-year thing. I mean, I don't know that I would definitely pick them to win the division next year. I mean, I don't trust the Steelers right now at all. I mean, I think that Trubisky contract is insane. But I think the Ravens will be good. And then, we'll see what the Browns got. I mean, they've got some talent, and now they got a quarterback. So I don't know that I would guarantee they're going to win the division or anything, but I do think that they're going to be a good team next year. I don't think it's a Jacksonville situation where they were really good on defense with Bortles, and then they got to the AFC Championship game, fell off a cliff. They had the 1 year where Cam's Panthers were really good, and they fell off a cliff. Same thing you just mentioned, the Falcons that couldn't sustain any of this. This feels like they're going to be pretty good for a couple of years here. I certainly can't project 5-7 years down the road, but for 2 or 3, feels like they're going to be pretty good. These moves certainly move them in the right direction, so hopefully that is the case. Speaking of the Jaguars, did you see the Athletic story about Urban Meyer?
Oh, my goodness. What are we doing with Urban, man?
We got to talk about it, because it's an unbelievable story. DJ Chark is quoted heavily in it. It's on the Athletic, kind of went behind the scenes of the most toxic culture in the NFL, and essentially it comes down to Urban Meyer is such an egomaniac who has to control everyone using fear that works at Ohio State and Florida. It doesn't work when they make more money than you, and it did not work in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's bad. And I saw another quote. He was like, who's number 99 from the Rams? Like, is that someone we have to look out for? I'm like, what? Wait, are you trolling? Like, Urban's trolling. You're trolling, right, Urban? Like, you have to be trolling at this point. Probably one of the best defensive players we've seen in the last half century. and you have no idea who he is, and you're a head coach in the NFL. Like, how do you not know who Aaron Donald is?
The story when Spurrier went to the Redskins and they went to practice, and he was going to take the offense to one field and the defense to the other field, and some assistant told him, was like, hey, we all practice in the same field because there's like 50 guys here. It's like, oh, sorry. Like, they just live in your own world. And Herb, the stories are unbelievable in this Athletic piece. If you're a subscriber to the Athletic, go and check it out and read it. But he didn't know who Aaron Donald was. He's going by guys. He's telling an entire meeting room that I'm going to cut you if you screw up again, and then you'll have to go get a job making $15 an hour. It's like, what? What? I mean, you can't say that to people.
Yeah.
And he's kicking the kicker, telling him to make his blanking kicks. He's berating the assistant coaches, saying they're all losers and he's a winner because he's never lost back-to-back games before. It's like, dude, this is the NFL. Like, we lose some games.
Oh my gosh!
It's a guy who just had no sense of awareness as to what was going on in his locker room.
It's ridiculous. And I think for me, when he did stand back and stay in Ohio after they got their butts kicked in Cincinnati, you don't fly back with your team and break down the film. You rather stay back. He said, I was seeing my grandkids. Dude, we all see the video of you at a bar.
Seeing something.
Yeah, I don't think your grandkids are anywhere near that bar. So, Urban, man, he's a different cat. I think we talk about guys getting second opportunities, third opportunities. I think that ship has sailed. It's across the Atlantic somewhere. I don't think no one's touching Urban for a very, very long time. And it's very sad because I thought he had some potential to do some good things with just his coaching pedigree, but I didn't know that's who he was as a man. You look at the win percentage, you look at the championships, but who he was as a man, that's not the guy.
Look at the Florida team he had.
Yeah. I mean,
you could put a 30 for 30 on that could go 6 episodes. Yeah. I mean, with the amount of characters that he had on those teams, and he's a brilliant college football coach because he's a brilliant recruiter, a tireless worker, and a good play caller, and he surrounded himself with good staffs. You've got Dan Mullen and Tom Herman and some of the, I mean, you had Ryan Day was on his staff. You really, really good coaches around him, and he had better players. But he's trying to run this entire thing with fear and intimidation and telling people they're getting cut and all this kind of, there's no relationship building. There's no creating of a culture, cultivating a culture. It's just, I'm in charge. I'm the boss. Do what I say or you're out on your butt. Like, it just, there's never going to work. And Saban realized it immediately when he got to Miami. Now, I don't think Saban is as big of a world-class jerk as Urban Meyer is. I think Saban is a little much to be pretty, mild. But I think he realized that he needed to build culture. He just didn't want to do that. He wanted to go be the rule the roost in Tuscaloosa like he did in Baton Rouge, and you just can't do that in Miami. Pete Carroll's not wired like that, so he was able to have success either way because he's a relationship guy, culture guy, and that's what you want to do. Saban, these guys want to control every single thing that goes on. Can't do it in the professional ranks.
Yeah, it's just not going to work, man. Guys have families just like you. When you're dealing with 18, 17-year-old kids, no family, really not making the money that you're making at the NFL level, it's easy to kind of, talk to those guys whatever way you want because they have a future ahead of them. A lot of these guys at the NFL level, they've been doing it, and especially guys who've been in the NFL a lot longer than Urban's ever been around, dude. You've been around us for 4 months, and you're talking to us like you're a dictator, like you're Vladimir Putin or something. Like, it's not going to work, man. It's just not a good scene, and I think for Urban, it's just going to leave a sore taste in a lot of people's mouth. And like my boy DJ said, man, a lot of people were happy when he wasn't around anymore, and that's the last thing you want to hear if you're a head coach.
Well, he said they can't believe he lasted that long. He didn't make it through a year. Can't believe he lasted that long. I mean, and you've got guys that are really good players, and the way he was treating people, it's just hard to see. And I wonder if he'll surface and do television. He was decent on television for Fox for a while. His reputation's just been totally slogged through the mud here the last year and a half. So we'll see if we ever hear from Urban Meyer again. My gut tells me probably so. But right now, probably keep it a little bit of a low profile, which is probably a good thing at this point. So that's your look around the NFL. Come back in 30 more minutes here with us on a Monday here. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill.
Protect yourself against upsets this March with the Bracket Parlay insurance on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back each day if you parlay up to 3 legs or more fails and 1 leg short. Parlays are great because you can turn one small bet into a big payday. And with cash out, the ball's in your court, so you can close out whatever bets you want before the game is over.
If you're new to FanDuel, just sign with the promo code 1045ESPN. You can bet the bracket all tournament long. I'm looking at the futures for the national championship right now. Gonzaga is the favorite at plus 240. I think there's value on Purdue at plus 750. Jaden Ivey in that backcourt, they play really good defense in that. Painter. Villanova is plus 1,300. If you like really good coaches with good pedigree that usually show up around this time of year. So plus 1,300 with Villanova is some pretty good action as well. You can check out every team that's left right there on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Use promo code 1045ESPN on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. If exactly one leg of your three-leg parlay loses, the refund is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. NCAA tournament SBK wager is required. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event.
Monday evening edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're live at Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, recapping all of the college and NFL action from the weekend on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You gotta make sure you get the check mark on Twitter when you see things happen. And I've done that, and I think we're good. Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network. He's got 419,000 followers. I think he's probably pretty legit. He just tweeted out 2 minutes ago, the Saints are re-signing quarterback Jameis Winston to a 2-year deal with a base value of $28 million, including $21 million guaranteed. So, 2-year deal, fairly reasonably priced there, with $21 million guaranteed. Your thoughts as I kind of toss that out there financially and in terms of fit on the field?
Yeah, I think that we've talked about this time and time again, especially after the season, even after he got hurt. He was the most, realistic option for the Saints. You didn't have to pay him a ton of money. He has rapport with the players. It seems like the players want to fight for him, and they trust him as a quarterback. And you really look around the division other than Tampa Bay, you feel like, and you really had Tampa Bay's number for the past 2 seasons. You feel really great about winning the division. I think Jameis is a guy who can do that to you. And you saw Sean Payton last season kind of adjust the play of Jameis, especially after his time in Tampa Bay, where he was dropping back, passing it 45, 50 times a game, and kind of changing that. Get that number down to below 20. Feed the ball to the running backs, take care of it, not turn it over, and let that defense play at the high level that you do know the defense can. So I think for the Saints, that's a great pickup. Now you have that answered at the quarterback position. You don't have to worry about that. Now you can kind of go back to filling this team out. But I think for the Saints, it's a win-win for everyone. You got a guy who has familiarity with the offense and with the team, and you feel like you can go win some games with.
This made too much sense once the decision was made to promote Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. Not only does he have a relationship with the organization and with the players, he has a relationship with the coaches where they've invested 2 years into him. So it makes a ton of sense. As far as how good it is for the Saints and what type of player he's going to be on the field, I have my concerns. It concerns me that the Saints last year, when Jameis Winston was a starting quarterback, threw the ball fewer times than anybody in the NFL. Now, there are some layers to that. 1, your defense is excellent. 2, you've got an all-pro running back and a solid offensive line. And 3, your wide receiver room was shot. So it's not all on James. It just concerns me a little bit that Sean Payton didn't feel like really trust him to go out there and make some things happen with his arm. I think he is he's somewhere around the 23rd best quarterback in the NFL. That's just a total number that I'm just throwing out there. I certainly don't have the 22 that are better and then the 8 that he's better than. Like, I'm not trying to be that specific.
Yeah.
That's just about where I have him. And it makes me think that it's difficult to reach the heights that you want to with him as the quarterback. Now, did you have a better option? I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is better. I don't know if Baker Mayfield's better. I know Deshaun Watson's better. But I think this is fine. That's the best thing I can come up with. You're going to field a reasonably competitive team. Do I think the Saints have got serious Super Bowl ambitions with Jameis Winston as a starting quarterback? I don't feel that way right now. Maybe Mike Thomas coming back and he's healthy and the defense is clicking and you can really run the ball because your offensive line stays healthier than it did last year, and maybe it looks better. And I sing a different tune, but I just don't know if I love it.
Yeah, no, it's not, if they, picked up Deshaun Watson, how people would feel like, maybe take the off-field stuff out the picture, but just talk about on-field performers and who they are, caliber as a quarterback. It's not anywhere remotely close to that. But I think for the Saints, when you find yourself 5-2 last season with Jameis leading the helm, no Michael Thomas, no real number one receiver. We all saw the success, Jameis had with Mike Evans. They threw it for a ton of yards, ton of touchdowns. I think for the Saints, they feel like they can, replay that with Mike Thomas and Jameis, and they feel really confident in that. So I think that's something you can't look over. You're 5-2. They blew Green Bay out of the water. I know it was a one-game thing, but we saw, Green Bay have the best record in the NFC last season. So I think with them, with Jameis at the helm, they feel like they can be competitive. And in this league, that's really all you need. So many games come down to one possession. If you can be competitive and compete and give yourself an opportunity to win, that's where you want to be.
Okay, there's a lot of news coming. The next 2 shows are going to have a lot to digest. LSU has its basketball coach.
Okay.
Matt McMahon from Murray State is the new head basketball coach at LSU. John Rothstein has sent the tweet out from his official account. Look, I think that there was some smoke around Tony Bennett that I heard, but I had heard that Matt McMahon was right there in the mix as well. And here he is. And look, this is a 43-year-old coach who has won a ton at Murray State. Over his time at Murray State, he has posted seasons of 26-6, 28-5, 23-9, then a 13-13 year last year with wacky COVID scheduling, and then this year 31-3 and won a NCAA tournament game with the Racers. So this is a guy that's young. This is a guy who's won a lot. He's sustained success at Murray State. I was very, very concerned at how this hire would go because of the massive amount of uncertainty that's dripping all over LSU basketball. I'm pretty happy with this hire, I got to tell you. I would have been over the moon if they could have gotten Tony Bennett to come here from a national championship winning program. This one feels about right. It feels like a guy who's on the rise, who realized this is his shot, who understands the value in building a program, and he's going to have it's going to be a rough start. His first year, they're probably going to be terrible next year. I don't have any problem saying that. I think his team is going to be bad next year. I think it's going to be very difficult to fill the roster out. You may have the entire floodgates run out. It certainly has on the signing class, and it may on the roster moving forward. But I'm very happy with the guy who has been to really 3 NCAA tournaments in a row, and he's won a game a couple of times. They didn't obviously go 2 years ago with COVID, and then last year they didn't go because it was a goofy year. They went 13-13, whatever, just played OVC games and went 10-10. But he was back on top of the mountain this year, was 31-3 and beating the brakes off everybody they saw in the Ohio Valley. So I'll do a lot more research this evening on the style of play, look at some interviews and some tape like that. But just knowing the numbers, understanding the program that he's built and sustained there at Murray State, I think Scott Woodward did a really good job here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Scott's done a phenomenal job at all the coaching hires he's had. I won't go as far as home run hire. I think there's some questions, like you said, we need to do a little more research on him. But I think when you look at Murray State, obviously Ja Morant, everyone knows him right now, probably an MVP candidate right now, and being able to recruit a guy like that to your program that's not one of the bigger programs in the country just let you know what type of recruiting, his eye for talent. And I think that's something you're definitely going to need right now. These next coming seasons, you're going to have to find some guys under the radar, probably not 5 or 4-star guys, but, guys that can really come in and play basketball at a high level. And I think a guy like that can definitely do that. So I'm excited for this next era of LSU basketball. Hopefully the sanctions aren't too bad and we could possibly make a tournament run sooner than later. But I think for Scott Woodward, this is definitely a great hire.
If you look at the timeline, they got their notice of allegations. A couple of days later, they fired Will Wade. You would imagine that Scott Woodward had a list and knew that he very likely was going to have to use it at some point. I figure he would have talked to someone in fractions, and they would have a reasonable expectation of what it was that we were going to find, and knew that he was probably going to move on. So he's going to have a list. You're not going to disrupt things while the team is going to play in the NCAA tournament. You allow them to go to the NCAA tournament. They lose on a Friday. Looks like he got work done this weekend. That was kind of the gist of one of the conversations I had yesterday. Yeah, he's been on campus. We've seen him. We think things are moving. That's why I said, at the beginning of the segment of the hour, I said, look, I think this is going to happen this week. And it turns out it happens, at lunchtime on Monday. So they kept it quiet. They made an offer, and they got their guy pretty quickly. I think. If you're an LSU basketball fan, I think you got to be pretty content with the way things have gone there.
Yeah, you definitely do. And I think, the job that Scott Woodward's done, it can't go overlooked, man. I think you feel really great about all the hires he's made, and I think this is right there in that ballpark. A guy that's had success in not a Division I program, but continues to find themselves in the NCAA tournament and recruiting guys who are playing at a high level at the NBA level. That's what you want, especially right now with where this program's going to be and where it's headed. Maybe with this hire, you may be able to hold on to some of the guys on the team and they can feel good about, playing some regular season games. I don't know how exciting that's going to be for players, but other than that, with all that stuff out the window, I think going forward, I don't know how long this deal is, but I think it's a great hire for LSU.
Hopefully he can get on the phone with some of these guys that are on the roster and convince them that LSU is the place to be. I have my doubts, but that's obviously going to be object number one, is to call the current roster and try to keep them in Baton Rouge. But very likely they can't play in the NCAA tournament if they're here. So we will see. We will see. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to do a little research this evening, listen to some press conferences, watch some game tape, and kind of get a feel for the next coach of LSU basketball. If you missed it, Matt McMahon from Murray State is LSU's new head basketball coach. He has been the head coach at Murray State since 2015. Of course, coached Ja Morant at Murray State, where they were a high-flying squad, won a tournament game, and went back-to-back years with the eventual number 2 pick in the draft. So probably can recruit a little higher-profile players than that moving forward, but that one turned out pretty good with Ja Morant. So LSU hires Matt McMahon from Murray State as its head basketball coach. We will come back and close out our Monday show. It's Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
On 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Always proud to tell you about Bayou Ford at BayouFord.com. They've got some great March incentives, 0% APR for 60 months, plus $1,000 bonus cash when you get a new 2021 Ford F-150, 2021 Ford EcoSports, $2,000 off MSRP, and 0% APR financing is available. Go to the website, BayouFord.com. They've got everything you could want right there. As we tell you every single day, 75% of their cars are custom now. Don't settle just because you're not happy with what you see on the lot. They'll make it happen for you. Give them 60 to 90 days. They'll turn that thing around. It's a big purchase. You're going to have that thing for a number of years. You can wait the 2 months so you can get exactly what you want. Bayou Ford can make that happen.
Yeah, new SCA Performance Ford trucks and truck packages are sold exclusively through partnering Ford dealerships all over the world. Bayou Ford in LaPlace, Louisiana is an exclusive SCA Performance dealer. That means your SCA truck can be purchased from the largest SCA Performance dealership in Louisiana and one of the largest in the country. You no longer have to dish out thousands of dollars for upgrades you want after buying a new truck. At Bayou Ford, we do right by you. If you don't believe us, check out our reviews.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthy.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed.
Time for myself.
We found our why.
Have you found yours?
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information,
Madness returns. Tune in for live play-by-play of the 2022 Men's NCAA Tournament Thursday night at 8, Friday night at 6, Saturday at noon, and Sunday at 11 a.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A lot of news this hour. If you're just hopping in the car and fired it up, Saints have a quarterback, and LSU's got a basketball coach. Yeah. That's all happened in the last 25 minutes. Jameis Winston agrees to a 2-year deal with the New Orleans Saints, and Matt McMahon from Murray State is now LSU's head basketball coach, being reported by John Rothstein and many, many others. The local media has gotten in on that as well. So, fresh start for both, as Saints will continue, I guess, the Jameis Winston era, and then LSU basketball will now be in the hands of Matt McMahon, his early 40s, and had a ton of success in Murray State, so I think is that a good thing. Let's do some take it or leave it, Jeremy Hill.
All right. Sam Burns, he defended his title at the Valspar. It's his third PGA Tour win. Sam Burns is a top 10 player in the world. Take it or leave it.
I'm taking it.
I'll take it.
There's not one aspect of his game that he does not have. He is not weak in any aspect of his golf game. He hits it long. He hits fairways. He's a great iron player. He's excellent around the greens. He puts his eyes out, especially in Florida, where he's now won a couple of times. He's got the whole package. It's really cool for a guy from Shreveport who played at LSU to be on the stage like he is right now. Three tour wins. He's now headed to Augusta here in a couple of weeks. He's still got to crack down that first major, but he is absolutely, to me, a top 10 player in the world, and that is really, really cool. Draymond Green got tossed last night in the Warriors-Spurs game. He said the ref was, quote, terrible, and the ref ejected him. NBA should do something about these ejections. Take it or leave it.
Look, we've seen some of these leagues, point of emphasis. All right, it's time for a point of emphasis on some of these ejections from the NBA. Like, it's getting totally out of hand. I think the last thing that you're going to want to see is a star player. I'm not saying Draymond's a star player, but you want to see a star player in a tough playoff series get tossed from a game for just talking to a referee. Now, I say if you put your hands on a referee, that's totally different. Sure. You bump into him, you get aggressive, you do some of that stuff, that's totally fine. Eject him, toss him. But just saying a call was terrible. I listened to the audio, I'm like, wait, got tossed for saying terrible?
I would just this is the question I would like to ask the official. And I get on my soapbox about this all the time. It's probably annoying. But I just like to ask the official, what if, just theoretically, he said that call was terrible and you just looked the other direction and walked away? Like, what if we did that instead of giving a technical foul? You're telling me your feelings as an official are important enough to change the score of an NBA game? No, get out. That is ridiculous. It just drives me insane. I hate it.
All right. When asked why he chose number 27, newly acquired Chicago Cub Seiya Suzuki said he loves Mike Trout. Are you taking or leaving? Suzuki has potential for some Mike Trout in the majors.
I'm going to leave that. It's a 5-year deal. I hope he plays great. He's not going to be the best player in the league. I was excited the Cubs spent a little bit of money. I'm bummed out they didn't get in on the Carlos Correa deal. They're not in on Nick Castellanos either. They are woefully short on talent and are not, it appears, doing anything further to fix it. The Stroman signing was good. The Seiya Suzuki signing was really good. They needed to sign 3 or 4 more guys, and they haven't because they run this thing like a business, and they make me very cranky some days. But we're getting close to the MLB season, which is a very good thing, so we'll see. But he ain't going to be Mike Trout. Right after his trade request was denied by the Cleveland Browns, the Browns are now moving on from Baker Mayfield after the acquisition of Deshaun Watson. The Seattle Seahawks should go get Baker Mayfield. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I think that'd be a soft landing spot for Baker. I want him to stay far away from that New York market, his relationships with the media. I don't see that being in the picture. And we just saw the Colts. I know Taylor Sharp thought the Colts would be a great landing spot. Well, they just picked up Matty Ice. So that's out the picture. So I think the Seahawks is probably the next best option for Baker. I know they got Drew Lock over there, which they're saying they just feel really great about Drew Lock, but I don't think anyone feels that great about him. So I'm going to say Baker, Seattle. You'll have some weapons. You got DK Metcalf. You got Tyler Lockett. You got a run game. I think that'd be a good fresh start for him. And I think he has some talent, but I'm just not going to go number 1 overall pick talent. But I think the Seahawks with Pete Carroll, players coach, I think that'd be a great spot for him.
With Jameis having signed and the Matt Ryan trade today, it appears that it's kind of Baker, Jimmy G, Mariota, and then it's like Seahawks. Who else is looking?
Panthers, maybe.
Yeah, the Panthers. Well, yeah. I mean, they could. I mean, so
maybe.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Saints are out of that market, so they're in good shape. What's more impactful news today? LSU's basketball coach or Jameis Winston to the Saints?
I'm gonna go Jameis because at least the Saints can play in a playoff game next year, so maybe that that's possible. That's in the realm of, it doesn't matter how great this team is. Like I'm pretty sure it's gonna be at least 1 year. So I think for right now, today, especially when you look around the NFC South and just how dominant the Saints have been over the Buccaneers, I think the Jameis news probably gonna be a little more prevalent for me.
All right, tonight in the PMAC, LSU and Ohio State, 7 o'clock. It is a ticket to the Sweet 16 on the line this evening for Kim Mulkey's squad. She was named a Naismith Coach of the Year finalist earlier today. You got the Lady Tigers getting it done tonight in the PMAC?
Yeah, I believe in the Tigers, man. I think for me, I think they're a Final Four team. The way they played all season, the way Kim Mulkey's got this team ready to play, and just how competitive they've been and just the winning they've done. I think it shocked me. I thought they were a couple years away, but just what she's done in her first year here, I think you got to tip your cap to her and really cheer this team on. I think they're going to definitely win this one.
I put out a poll today just because I was generally interested in what people thought about the game, what their interest level was on this game. And it's just basically, what's your interest level for the game tonight in the round of 32? 9% said they were going. 43% said they would watch from start to end, which is good. 40% said check the score, and then 8% said they had no interest whatsoever. So we'll see if they can get it into the Sweet 16. We'll certainly talk about that a little bit more. Get Scott Rabelais and Michael Cobble on to talk about Kim Mulkey's team. That's the only basketball left going on in this town as LSU's men have bowed out, but they do have their new head coach in Matt McNair. So hopefully the Tigers tonight against Ohio State, the Lady Tigers, 7 o'clock tip, can get things done. Kim Mulkey made a great gesture and bought all the students tickets so they can go for free. So hopefully everybody gets out in the PMAC. They've got a great environment, and they can move on into the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. That'll do it for us here on a Monday. A lot of fun, a lot of action here today. We opened things up talking LSU basketball in the NCAA tournament. Then in the second hour, talked about the baseball weekend as well as some of the Bengals moves. And then we got Jameis Winston being the quarterback of the Saints and a new basketball coach in Baton Rouge. So a lot to talk about over the next 6 hours of local radio, which, of course, you already know it by now. Matt Moscona will drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. Actually, I think Matt's out today. It might be Uncle Larry. Larry Holder might be in today doing After Further Review. Jimmy Ott's Game Time from 6 to 8. And Mario and Musso have your early line coming up next. Tomorrow, we will hear from LSU head football coach Brian Kelly during our show. They're cranking up spring football. The news cycle never stops on the Sports Dial. That's why we appreciate y'all locking us in each and every day. Have a great